very good evening and a warm welcome to The Insight. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Tonight, we dive into a topic that resonates deeply with every Kenyan: the youth factor in the leadership in the country and a divided presidency.
And my name is Stephen George. Now, in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., and I quote, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but the time he stands at times of challenge and controversy."
Well, Gen Z has proven to be a force to be reckoned with in the past 2 weeks of uncalled protest in the guise of exercising their civil right as enshrined in the Kenyan Constitution, armed with water bottles and placards screaming their leaders' names to account for their action in the controversial finance bill has made it so clear that they did not come to play.
Should the president have a docket at State House at least to listen to the young voices their plights every day, instead of using measures that have been used in the past regimes?
Now, would this organized protest be possible in the ancient times without internet, where a single hashtag would pass information around the world and bring people together for a cause, thanks to social media powerhouses like Twitter and TikTok that has wired information globally with real-time images and cries of young people?
Regimes in Africa are morphing into a new normal. America recently had an African election, they say, where they had an insurrection that left the world shook to its core after Trump supporters went to the Capitol House and clamored for the speaker's attention whilst chanting unflinching threats.
Is it becoming a trend that Gen Z are out to hold their leaders accountable when making big decisions that affect everyone, as opposed to the common Mwananchi phrase, "The future leaders who will govern Gen Z should start preparing on how to make a stand that will be of benefit to everyone"?
The media has played an integral role in ensuring the coverage reaches the diaspora, who contribute a mega feat when it comes to objectivity and truth. Politics of diversity and hatred are melting away with a wave of young people who are championing rights. It does not matter which part of the country they come from, at least to come together for a cause.
In the contemporary world, I believe that young people will be key actors to pioneer a world that is more sustainable for all actors. They barely indulge in the destruction of property as seen in the genesis of the protest across the country.
Policy shapers as well as should also shift from their traditional decisive thinking of ignoring the youths on the table. The leader himself, whilst making policies and laws, must have a presence of mind to include Gen Z in every spectrum of leadership and accountability, and that is our editorial today.
Our big conversation begins right now on matters the youth factor in the leadership in the country and divided presidency. Joining us to have this conversation is Ambassador Esther Waringa, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Public Service Governance, and Charles Okwemba, the Public Relations Practitioners. Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. To kickstart this conversation, I'll begin with you, Ambassador Esther. We've seen many Gen Z outside there in many countries. They're going to the street to put their frustrations out there.
Yeah.
Is this the new wave in the continent?
I think I love your starting conversation, and it talks about the Gen Zs exercising their civil rights. And for the longest time, we have said that youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but they're coming out to prove that, no, please don't consider us tomorrow. Today, it's when we want to be at the decision-making table. You know why? They feel they have the energy. Where are they going to take that energy to, or to divert that energy to, if we don't involve them positively to be able to exercise what is in their brains, what is in their hearts, what is in their environment? They need to be included. They feel we want to be part and parcel. And actually what has happened in the Republic of Kenya and in other continental domains is that they have proven that they have brains to be brought on the table, until His Excellency the President recently said that I would want to reason out with these people. Why? Because even the way they are putting things across, and if we are to take Kenya as an example on matters demonstration, for the longest time, we've been having politically instigated demonstrations. Like my party, your party, this leader, the other leader. But what the Gen Zs are bringing on board is demonstrations of facts, demonstrations that are geared towards development, demonstrations that are geared towards a paradigm shift in governance. This is what we call ideological focused demonstrations. And that's why some of us in the governance domain are taking our time to listen to them, because they are making a bit of sense. These are not the days that we had, political political demonstrations that even you don't want to watch the TV because it's about this kingpin and the other kingpin. So I think with the Gen Zs, there is nothing like kingpin. It's about let the people of Kenya have water, the people of Kenya have education, let the people of Kenya have roads, good roads. We want food on the table for every family, and we want inclusivity in government. The Gen Zs are telling us no more corruption in government. Gen Zs are telling us no more wastage in government. And they are telling us, politicians, calm down. You've been up there for the longest time with all your big and might and everything. It's time to calm down. And of course, they are also sending a very strong message to the members of parliament. You people, who have you been representing? As per the Constitution of Kenya, Chapter 7, representation of the people. Have you been exercising that? No. Politicians, MPs, governors, senators, it's time to represent the people. And the Gen Zs are teaching us, if you don't, of course, we are ready for a paradigm shift. So it's a whole paradigm, and the best thing and the best advice we could give, and we would give this evening to our leaders, is that they must listen. They must create time. They must involve these brains into the processes of governance, not only in Kenya, even at continental level. And I think this paradigm will now, I'm so happy about it, by the way, as much as there'll be a little bit distraction here and there and a little bit not comfortable scenarios, insecurity and the others, and especially when it was happening initially, when I was hearing about issues to do with water, issues to do with corruption, issues to do with wastage in government, issues to do with finance bill, you know, an issue-based demonstration. I was a little bit saying to myself, yeah, because for the longest time, actually, in Kenya, we've been complaining from the middle class, everybody, oh, corruption, oh, wage bill, oh, politicians are not wastage in government. For the longest time, we've been talking about it, yeah? But no one came out like the Gen Zs have come out. Remember, we have been talking about theft in government for the longest time. Even Finance Bill 2023, we had a very vigorous debate about the Finance Bill 2023. Remember, when the country was subjected to public participation on Finance Bill 2023, people came through, but nothing was included. I mean, they did not consider it's like the public participation sessions were technically watered down during the Finance 2023 bill, pushing it into law, and it was actually passed into law without considering the public participation.
So Parliament was just a conveyor belt.
Yes, so what are the Gen Zs telling us? No, you cannot continue like this. Include us in the processes. Wherever we give our views during public participation, include this. Because remember, the people of Kenya are the greatest stakeholders in any government. The people of the Republic of Kenya, the power of the nation belongs to the people of Kenya. How then do you exclude them from the processes of government? How then do you consider that the 300 or something, 340 something, including the nominated members of parliament, are the owners of this country?
Yes.
They will make any decision pertaining to them, and they are comfortably, and they will ignore Wanjiko, and they will go home comfortably. Now I think it's a total paradigm shift. Things are different.
Yes.
The best thing we can do, let's listen to the voices that don't seem to be. We may ignore them, and let me tell you, as the President of Public Service Governance, I'm not ignoring them. In fact, I said, I think I would want to listen to them more. I want to have a sitting with them more. We want to engage more. They are so brainy, and they can be able to propel this country forward in terms of socio-economic development.
To bring Charles Okwemba to chime in into this conversation, we've seen this paradigm shift across the continent. Is this the new wave by the young people, Gen Z, to go out there to the street, to put their frustrations, their anger, they are quite disillusioned by their members of parliament?
Yes, I believe it's a new normal right now. Since the previous way, the way our parents used to do it, they just, they're being told and they just like, okay. They complain in their homes. They just sit down and complain in their homes and they don't come out. But is this the new wave? Because the frustration have boiled up within us and the young people, and we're looking and we're saying like, okay, for how long are we going to sit silent and let them just rule us like this and come up with policies and they don't include the Gen Zs? So the Gen Zs are coming out and saying like, this is our voice, this is our time. We need to come out strongly and say like, this is what we need you to do for us. Our parents said this and they complained and they feared to come out, but us, we are being strong and coming out and saying like, this is the voice we have. This is the only voice we have. If we don't do this right now, we won't do it any other day. So this is the time right now to push for these policies that we want, because we are the next leaders in this country. And we want to see a Kenya that is united, that is growing and being in a place that we would like it to be. And that is where young people are coming out and saying like, this is the new wave. If we don't do it right now, when are we going to do it? When are we going to stand for ourselves? And it's high time for also leaders to start listening. And they're putting leaders accountable for their, for what they're doing. We don't want to see leaders coming out and telling us like, we are doing this and we don't see it. Because we are using our taxes, we're paying taxes, and they're using our taxes, and we're not seeing any benefit that's coming out of it. So young people are saying, why are you taxing us this much and there's no development? That is the way, the new way is this. We are going to champion for our rights, we are going to come out strongly, and we're going to keep our leaders accountable. Yes.
Charles, just a moment before we get to Waringa again. What do you want? We had the finance bill. You were talking about what we saw Gen Z talk about most was the finance bill 2024. Yes. We had the president do away with the finance bill. Yes. But just barely a day after the president said, I concede, now you're back to the streets again. What do you want?
Young people want new change. I mean, the president might have thrown out the finance bill and said like, I'm doing away with it, I'm withdrawing it. But what we've been seeing is, there's been countless of lies. We've seen the president lying, coming out and telling us, I'm going to do away with this, or I'm going to do this, and then the next day, he does the opposite. So young people are saying, no, we do not, enough of these lies, enough of telling us you're going to do this, and doing the different thing on this other side. Young people are saying, despite you throwing away the finance bill and saying you've withdrawn it, we do not trust you. The problem is not even the finance bill itself. The problem is the trust. Young people and the Kenyan people have lost trust in the president and the presidency itself. Young people are coming out and saying like, we have lost trust in you. We need to have a leader who we can trust. We need to have a leader who comes out and says, I will do this and you do this. So young people are just coming out and saying like, this is our frustration because you've been lying to us all through. We are suffering. We do not have jobs. He promised employment to young people. They are not seeing employment. He promised opportunities for young people out there, but we are not seeing those opportunities. Instead, he's stifling those opportunities for young people. So we need a leader who can come out and say like, if I am going to give opportunities to the youth, if I am going to provide for you jobs, we are seeing it. But young people are not seeing that, and they're saying like, we cannot trust you to steer this ship. So we need to have someone else to come and steer this ship.
Are you calling for his resignation?
I mean, it's been out there, and we are saying like, President, and I am going to just go ahead and say, Mr. President, we respect you, we respect the presidency, but at the moment, we cannot see how a leader can come and lie to us. But we are just saying, if you cannot steer this ship, please step down and let someone else come in and steer this ship. Yes.
Waringa,
yes.
Listening to Charles.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Very well. I agree, because what has been lacking in government is accountability, which is very evident. With the wastage in government, responsibility, they have not taken responsibility enough, because even when they were bringing the finance bill, Why did they bring a finance bill that really had escalated, things that even bread had to be taxed, the rest of all? How that's lack of responsibility to the nation. How can you tax bread for the children of the Republic of Kenya? That's telling us we don't have a parent government. We don't have a caring government. We don't have a government that is concerned about its own people. Look at the transparency of government. Are we talking about the budgets that we have seen that are exorbitant, budgets that are, if you read at the budget figures, that tells you automatically we are talking about corruption. We are talking about budgets that are geared towards, theft in government. And actually, what happens is...
And do you think the Gen Z should be included in this budget?
Yes, exactly. Because why are we seeing some figures that we even don't understand? And most of the people are like, okay, some of the budgetary items are geared towards corruption, and maybe they're planning for now huge budgets for another election 2027. But I always tell them, I'm very quickly bringing the Kenya Bila Uchaguzi bill. And if it doesn't pass through parliament as a bill, of course, we have the people's power. Because ask ourselves as Kenyans, do we benefit in these elections? Because 2 years down the line, we did a general elections. IBC spent billions of shillings from buying the BVL kits, from printing the ballot papers, from conducting general elections, the employment of presiding officers, election materials. Billions of shillings were spent by IBC alone. How much did the president himself, President Ruto, spend to campaign? How much did all the governors spend? How much did members of parliament, the women reps, the MCA spend?
So there should be an audit by the IBC.
Exactly. And away from the audit, it is very clear that the amount that they spend is money that can be able to build infrastructure in our schools, money that can be able to ensure that we have hospitals in each and every ward in this country. So that money was lost because remember that 2 years down the line, we have proved or we have a vote of no confidence for this government after being voted in 2 years, after spending billions. And I task those guys in Treasury and those experts that we have in finance to tell us, to give us a very clear budget on expenditure of elections that we did last year. And 2 years ago, 2 years down the line, they are not delivering. And what are we doing? We are sending them home. Are we talking about another elections? How much is it gonna spend? Do we have that money? Are we going to send them home again after 1 year or 2 years? Are we going to repeat the same cycle? Are we going down the drain on matters economy? So what are we telling ourselves? Let us embrace a system, and I always call it vetting and appointment.
Yes.
You see, like the Chief Justice, President of the Judiciary, she's vetted and appointed. How much money did the President of the Judiciary spend for her to be the President of the Judiciary? Vis-a-vis what the head of state, President William Ruto, spent. President William Ruto spent more than 10 billion to campaign, while Martha Koome, maybe she only fueled her car to go to the interview, to go to the vetting and appointment. Look at those balances. So Kenya, it's a total paradigm. And I think the Gen Zs, because they're talking about a governance revolution, if it has to be a revolution, we must do away with elections.
So the office of the audit, or the Auditor General, they should be incorporated during the budgetary allocations in this country that are included into the National Assembly when the members of Parliament are allocating these funds. Were you disappointed when the 204 voted yes for this financial bill?
I was actually very disappointed, and that was the beginning of a vote of no confidence from my desk. Because how do you vote a bill that is telling us now that now the bread will be from 65 to 75 shillings, considering that this is the meal that every child takes in the morning. And don't forget that before that, there was a huge budget that goes into the feeding program of schools that already had been removed. And again, we are being told that because there are traffic jams in the country, we are going to tag a 2.5% motor vehicle levy, also to taxation.
But remember, it was dropped down by the president.
That was the initial one. I'm talking about the very initial one. If they ever sat as technocrats to give us this bill, the first bill depicted, or it showed the Republic of Kenya how irresponsible the crafters of the first bill were. Were they trying to joke around with the mind of Kenyans? If they were trying, now they have seen the repercussion. If their leaders sit down and get us a bill that is Wanjiku-centered, a finance bill that is impacting on the life of Wanjiku. Remember, that Kenyans were on the streets because of high cost of living. Do you remember?
Yes.
And instead of addressing the high cost of the living, using the Finance Bill 2024, they could have reduced everything, because Raila and his team, for the longest time, they tried to talk to the government to reduce the cost of living. They could not. So they could have used this finance bill as a way and a means and a channel to reduce on the cost of living.
Yes.
But what did they do? They escalated the cost of living using the Finance Bill 2024. So is that what we call responsible leadership? That's why I'm for the Gen Zs that accountability is a must. Responsibility is a must. Integrity in government is a must. Inclusivity is a must. Integrity is a must. So the trust has been eroded. How then do you live, even in families? Yeah, the moment a father and a mother, or maybe a wife and a husband, lose trust with each other, then what happens to the family? This is we are not talking about families disintegration. Yes. We are talking about the nation. Now we are talking about the family, which is the people of Kenya, and the parents, who are the government. Now, already, our Gen Zs at that age, including the middle class, we have totally lost confidence with this government, and we have totally lost trust with the government. How do we then continue living together? Not unless they come down and prove beyond reasonable doubts that, sorry, whatever we did was very wrong, we are ready to come down. Yeah?
Yes,
Maybe that would be a point of consideration. But for now, as we talk, with the chest thumping and with the, I don't know how they are going to handle themselves in a way that they are going to rebuild the trust again with the people of Kenya. So I think what the Gen Zs have brought is a total new normal.
Yes.
Is a total paradigm. But new normal cannot be new normal when we are saying elections have failed us. The new normal will be Kenya without general elections. For us, we don't want, and we have started correcting the signatures. And people are saying, after we woke up early to go and vote. And others are saying, me, I never woke up early, even if they woke up. But they are saying, I never voted this government. So who voted? And the amount of money we used, are we getting value for our money through elections? I'm not sure that we are.
Waringa, we'll be getting into the voting part.
Thank you.
Yes. I want us to take a look at some of the key issues that the president talked about when he was giving his address. First, let us listen in and see what the head of state said during his address.
To the people of Kenya, who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn, and I have agreed with these members that becomes our collective position. I will be proposing an engagement with the young people of our nation, our sons and daughters, for us to listen to them. As I said on Sunday, listen to their views, listen to their proposals, their ideas, their concerns, and what they think.
And listening, Charles, to what the president is saying.
Yes.
He's saying he wants to have a conversation with young people. He wants to have the Gen Zs and bring them on the table and ask them what they want so that they can collaborate together.
Yes.
How can this be achieved? Who does the president talk to? How does he address to Gen Z? Because now we have all over the country. We have Nakuru, we have Eldoret, we have Nairobi. Does he bring all the Gen Zs together? How does he go about responding to you guys?
Now, as the Gen Zs mentioned, we are headless. We do not have a leader. We do not have anyone who's coming out and saying, this is our leader. We were, before even the bill, when the bill was being in the early stages, we were telling him, do not pass this bill. And at that point, he should have been listening to the young people, the voices of the young people when they were telling him, please do not pass it, it is hurting us. He never listened. That is the time he'd have used to reach out to young people and the whole country and bring in. And I believe he did not take the step to include the young people in the public participation space. Because if he would have brought in the young people in the public participation space, the young people would have chimed in and put in their sentiments and say, like, for this certain area, you are taxing us here and we do not like it like that. We want it this way. Now that it has taken him their lives waiting for young people to go on the streets and be killed, for him to come and tell us, now, come and sit, we want to sit with you on the table. I mean, it is a little too late for that. So young people are telling him, Mr. President, it's a little too late for you to come in and tell us you want to speak with us right now regarding the finance bill and the whole situation that has happened in the
So
country.
the diplomatic approach, we are beyond that.
We are beyond the diplomatic approach.
Yes.
We would have, I mean, we would have done that before even young people. He would have pulled down his horses, he would have come down and sat with us and tell us, now tell me. But instead, he let the members of parliament to pass the bill. And look at where we are right now. People have lost their lives. Young people have lost their lives going to fight for their rights out there and telling the president, we need you to listen. And that is not the way to go. We do not need young people to die for leaders to listen. It's high time leaders calm down, listen to young people, listen to their citizens, and let the citizens tell them this is the pain, this is where it is pinching us, this is where we're feeling the pinch. If you do not listen to young people, then this will happen. Because young people are not going to just sit there and let things happen. They will have to.
Yes, I'll bring you in, Ambassador Waringa. The hashtag Occupy Parliament was very strong. It was so vigorous around the world. It was trending. The powerhouse can show us this power of TikTok and Twitter has proven to be a very large avenue for these youths. Do you think the future, the Gen Z as per now, do you think the movement will go broader to advocate for this, what they are, the grievances they want to be placed on the table?
Yeah, very well. I think this is a move that is unstoppable.
Yes.
The only thing we would ask is that the leaders must prepare themselves, their psychology and all that they are, to be able to embrace the Gen Zs. And what I said in the beginning is that I'm very happy because even if you see the hashtags, hashtags, we need corruption no more. Hashtags, another hashtag that was moving around is that wastage in government no more. Hashtag finance bill no more, reject finance bill. So it's not like hashtag I want to be an MP, hashtag no. It was not political at all. So if the Gen Zs can be able to champion it in a way that it will be able to influence the development space of the Republic of Kenya. Like, for example, if they can take it to the next level and tell us, like, for example, what percentage of the population of Kenya are not accessing water? That's a government agenda. What population of the country are not accessing roads? What population of the country of our children are out of school? How many schools have dilapidated classrooms? We are not able to, our children are not able to access school. And at what level are we on matters agriculture, realizing the input of agriculture into the GDP of the country? You know, an issue-based debate, it can go far. And I'm telling you, we are going to give it 100% backup. Because for the longest time, my dear Beatrice, we've been talking about good governance in the country. When the Gen Zs came, we had just returned from Kajiado on a multi-agency summit on good governance. And we had already finished Nairobi. Actually, we were headed to Kisumu and Kiambu when we stopped a bit, because now the Gen Zs came up and they started addressing some of these issues that are geared towards good governance. So for the longest time, we have been talking about a development-focused nation. And this is what the Gen Zs are talking about. I would request them that if we are able now to focus on the issues other than on politics, it will be so good. And they will be justified to do whatever they are doing to ensure that the development space of the country moves to another level. Because what has been happening, development has been curtailed in this country because we have practically politicized every area of development. Water, ya watu wangu. What about wale wengine ni wanani? And a member of parliament construct a small toilet on a so and so. That must stop in Kenya. They usually spend, that is government money. How do you then make it an honorable so and so facility? You open a dispensary on a so and so. This must stop in Kenya. If it is a dispensary, Ministry of Water, Government of Kenya. And that is why I'm saying we must stop individualizing government and we institutionalize government. How do we individualize government? When we start singing our politicians and when we start worshipping them and when we elect them into parliament and then their big names are the names that are worshipped when maybe they construct a classroom or a toilet or a dispensary. It's about their names, not about the Ministry of Health, not about the Ministry of Agriculture, not about the Ministry of Education. So from now henceforth, and I am saying this, Gen Zs, let us not make it a revolution. Then we leave it not being a revolution. A revolution must bring in something new. A revolution must bring in a new normal. A new normal is that Gen Zs, mmetuambia, hawa watu, these people, these MPs are not delivering. Elected representatives, call them. You have started with the head of state. And now MPs, even governors, so much corruption at the devolved structures. MCAs, we have seen them fight in the houses of county assembly. It's like they are not sure what they are elected to do. So, what the Gen Zs have told us that the revolution is to do away with anybody who is called a representative of the people, because they have failed to represent the people. The Constitution of Kenya, Chapter 1, Item 2, talks about that the people of Kenya has express mandate and authority to be governed either directly or through elected or the representatives through general elections, representatives of the people like we have it today. So if we go with the first part that the people of Kenya can be governed directly, we are going to apply it in a way that we are not having the representatives, that we are not having general elections, which bans the representation, but we are going to have, let me finish on that one, we are going to exercise direct governance where the people of Kenya will be benefiting from the ministries of government direct. Wherever we have the office of the governor, no more governor, we'll be having the ministries of government, Ministry of Water, Education, Agriculture, Energy. That means every Kenyan can access a ministry of government at their jurisdiction level. At the county level, we will be having departments of ministry, and at the ward level. Remember, I know, Beatrice, I don't know whether then you are in this world. I'm not trying to demean you, but I'm trying to say that we had what we call extension officers. We had agricultural extension officers, education extension officers. We are reinstating those people to replace the MCAs. We no longer need MCAs. So, what is the new normal that Gen Z has brought?
To hold their leaders accountable.
Yes.
I was not there.
Yeah, you are not there. That's
Gen
why I
Z,
say
yes. So
you are one of the Gen Z.
yes, yes.
For us, we are your mother.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe just to talk to Charles.
Yes.
What is the timetable? Are we looking to see the Gen Z go back again to the protest? I understand you have been there yourself. What is the timetable for the Gen Z's protest moving forward?
Yes, moving forward, the Gen Zs, we're still going to go to the streets. Yes, but we're not going to do it like we did it before. They're going to do it a bit differently. There's already a timetable out. There's next week that is still going to the streets. We're still going to go there. We're not going to vandalize anything. We've been saying it's a peaceful demonstration. We're just going to keep quiet. We're going to mourn our people, and we are going to go and tell the leaders, as we've been saying, Ruto must go, as we've been putting it out. And we are voicing it out, and we're saying, like, we've seen our young people die. We've seen our brothers and sisters die. So we are telling him, you have done your part. We are still going to the streets. We're still going to do our demonstrations peacefully. And we'd like him to come out and support us in this. But unfortunately, we know he's not going to support us. He's still going to, he has the military out. Yes, he's deployed the military. But we're still going to champion out. We're still going to voice our sentiments out. Yes.
Thank you for your insight. Now, I want us to look at a tweet that was sent by one Mr. Gamayang Luck. Okay, if you have the tweet ready, it says that, my fellow Kenyans, I understand you've not witnessed real suffering in our modern times, and you're about to invite it for yourselves. It normally starts in such a simple, quick and devastating manner that in the long run, real suffering comes in. You're only short on guns. Once you do that, you'll be joining us, South Sudan, Sudan, and many of the African Arab countries. You will have destroyed all your investment, scattered around the world as refugees and asylum seekers, destroyed your developed economy and infrastructure, etc. It will be too late by the time you come to your normal senses. Shun violence, pursue dialogue, embrace tolerance, never tamper with your and your children's future, and guard your amiable peace from jealousy. If you don't, then welcome to the world of real suffering and true anarchy. Today, there is a rule of law. Soon, it will be history. Come on.
Interesting.
Now, Waringa, listening from that, you have seen what has been happening.
Yes.
Initially, the protests were peaceful. We saw the genesis of the protests being very peaceful, but that is not always the case, especially here in Kenya. We saw the burning of county offices. Those are public offices.
Yes.
The infrastructure that we're putting in line.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
I only wish that the demonstrations can be peaceful and not tampering with any infrastructural development at all, because still we are a growing economy. If we start now destroying infrastructure, it will be again taking us to a retarded economy and to start now to come up. I was a UN ambassador to South Sudan, and I tell you, being in that country for a while, everyone was like, when will I finish my term and get out of this country? Because no infrastructure development, no one listens to the other. Children are subjected to threats and chaos. I actually visited prisons in Juba, and the state of the prisons, and women and children were in these prisons, and name it, everything. And of course, no social centers. What do we call them? There is a name that we
Social
call them.
halls.
Yes, it's running out of my mind. Not really social halls, social amenities. Yeah, the social amenities are not there. So we would not want to go that way. And we pray to God that even if we are to bring a revolution, that it will not be as a result of war or hate or destruction or violence. We went through violence, 2007, 2008. That is enough. And you know why 2007, 2008? Again, elections. So why are we now suffering right now? Because of incompetence in government. Incompetence, yeah.
Yes.
Lack of capacity to deliver. Lack of meritocracy. Lack of goodwill to serve the people of Kenya. I hope our leaders are listening, that we would not want to take our country into the Sudan way, into other. We don't want to point fingers at nations, but countries have suffered because of what we are going through exactly. So, Your Excellency the President, I know you're still focused, if I'm true, if I'm correct, to change this country. And the best thing you can do is leadership. Think of a total paradigm. The chest dumping must be out of government. The theft in government, the wastage. Right now we are talking about a wage bill that is too high. The recurrent expenditure of government cannot be more than development of expenditure. These are some of the issues that, if they are paining us, what about our Gen Zs? Let me ask you a question. How many Gen Zs attended the second? Was it the first or the second, where there was like rain in Nairobi of Gen Zs?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Does that tell you the level of joblessness in this country? How many Gen Zs are not employed, or how many even millennials are not employed, that they had time to go to the street? Is that a gap that the president should address? And of course, the Gen Zs are saying now they are tired with this administration. Now, so if they are tired, for us seated there, we will not continue sitting back. We will do what is good for the country. We will be able to revive the country, and especially on matters good governance, by ensuring we establish structures and systems. I know Kenya bila uchaguzi, that is a whole referendum, but we don't have to go referendum way. The desperate situations demand for desperate measures. If things come to the worst tomorrow, let me tell you, not because of my personal interest, but we take over the government and start vetting an appointment of leaders, na Kenya iendelee mbele, because the country cannot burn when we are watching.
Waringa, I see you're very strong.
Thank you,
the
dear.
public service governance.
Yes.
And Charles.
Yes.
Just hearing the tweet.
Yes, just hearing the tweet. For me, I'd like to appeal to young people, my fellow brothers and sisters, and just tell them like, yes, let's be peaceful. Our country already, we saw the 2007 elections. I was still a young person during the 2007-2008 elections. And for me, I believe that moving forward, just have peaceful demonstrations that have been stating. We've been having peaceful demonstrations, but what we've been seeing is they bring in the officers. The officers come in, it's peaceful at the beginning, then they start throwing tear gas. For me, I'd appeal to the security officers and the security officials, as you see people marching in, what they can do, protect the properties that are there, leave the demonstrators marching, let them march and protect the institutions that are there, which government institutions, you can protect them, but let the people march, let them voice out their sentiments, let them do the protests, let them lie on the roads, let them shout, let them scream, but do not throw tear gas at them. Because when you throw tear gas at them, you're provoking them. Now you're making them to be agitated, and the agitation comes in, and that's when it starts becoming now a bit reckless. People will be running around, they'll be scattering here and there, and it will be messy.
So your message is don't destroy any property.
Do not destroy
during
anything during demonstrations. Be peaceful. The message is peace.
And again, also the government must stop using the
excessive force.
Yeah, excessive force
You
and
know,
state machinery.
We really don't want to lose lives in these, these protests. You know, we just want the message to be communicated, and both forces, the Gen Zs and the government, nobody should be able to use arms that are going to hurt each other. You know, let's be peaceful. Let's communicate. Let's send the message peacefully, because we can do peaceful placards, you know, and it will be communicated. The message will be communicated equally. We don't need our defense forces in the streets. Let them go to the barracks.
We are going to pick it up from there.
Okay.
So let's go for a break. Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. Keep the conversation going. Our SMS line is 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. On that note, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
We started an art adventure with their founders. UM Gallery is a place where artists can bring their work.
So now we're entering into something called random questions.
Okay.
My favorite part. Okay, so if you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
The piece here is called Morph 01. Morph 01 is
every artist, kawe ni msanii,
Yeah.
you have been told no. So what will you tell those artists when you wameambiwa, like how do we deal with rejection as an artist?
Sometimes people are mean and they want money out of the information that they give. Yeah, but sometimes you take a period to teach yourself also, because you're not a know-it-all.
Yes. If you were to wine and dine with an artist,
Yes.
like Wakitambo, an
Yes.
ancient artist, who will it be and why? Ungeuliza nini? Hello guys, welcome to another amazing episode of The Youth Hub.
That's why you find that immediately we are done with the elections, the winning team go so fast they buy MPs.
So the youths have gone a notch higher to press and show that the government is not business as usual.
Not business as usual.
That's why if you see the government is not really responding well, it's because they did not expect this to come.
Yeah, sure.
Right now, just take your phone and call any Mheshimiwa. The moment they see a call that the number they don't know, they'll just know maybe this one is just a beggar. These Kenyans are used to asking for us for money.
Yeah.
Wao watapewa chenye wanapewa, wakuja waseme guys, cease fire. And yet we don't have fire. The only thing we have is one message. Number one, reject the bill.
We're ignorant that the youths will actually not understand the finance bill, ama they were just like, pitisheni tu, hata hizo zingine tunapitishanga, and they just do nothing about it.
That and people are not listened to. So I'm very glad because these youths, you see, they even translated. We as youths have translated.
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Insight. The SMS line is 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. And now, we had just spoken offline on what is happening and the possibility of having peaceful protests in Kenya that have an impact. And that is a conversation that we'll have on another day. Let us move now to the Ruto-Gachagua divide. We saw them have very different stances when it comes to their state of address, when it comes to the protest. But first, let us listen in first to what some of the points that they made, and then we'll talk about it. Yes.
Accordingly, I have directed all the organs of our national security to deploy measures to thwart any attempt by dangerous criminals to undermine the security and stability of our country. I hereby put on notice the planners, financiers, orchestrators, and abettors of violence and anarchy that the security infrastructure established to protect our republic and its sovereignty will be deployed to secure the country and restore normalcy.
President and I gave a categorical promise to the people of Kenya that the issue of abductions and extrajudicial killings will never happen again. Sadly, this is back. It is unbelievable that the son of the Honorable Attorney General of Kenya, Justin Bidan Muturi, was abducted at night in a commando style by officers of the National Intelligence Service and held incommunicado for 18 hours. Yet, that is the Honorable Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya.
There is not one incident of extrajudicial killing. What you said about abduction are statements that were attributed to some of our civil society groups, but all the people they mentioned have since been found in police custody, and those that were already processed were already released.
Yesterday, Nurdin Haji was trying to put up a team together to craft lies and propaganda and attribute the chaos that were in the country to leaders, I included, former President Uhuru Kenyatta and others. Yet it is very clear, and the President has admitted, that these protests were caused by the anger of the people of Kenya and their refusal of Finance Bill 2024.
Clearly, you can see there's a huge disparity between the presidency, the deputy president, and the president. The press conferences were in different locations. Yes. We thought they were going to be together. They are going to speak in one accord. Then we see this kind of reaction from both parties. What are your sentiments from this?
It's very unfortunate because they are showing it in public that people of Kenya, look, we are not together, because actually this has never happened before, even when we had the former governments where the two are addressing the same issue. The head of state and the deputy president are addressing the nation from different occasions on a particular issue, like, for example, the finance bill or the current situation of the country. That shows that a huge lift between the president and the deputy president. Now, coming even to the issues that they're addressing, the deputy president talks about extrajudicial killings, and the head of state says that there is not even a single case of extrajudicial killing.
The irony.
Let me tell you, we had power, I would send everybody home and take over government of the Republic of Kenya and never have a deputy president, of course, not because of Gachagua, but because I think also the structure of leadership is very, very important. And actually, all this is a result of political leadership. Everything narrows down to competitive politics. The people of Kenya, let me tell you, the reason why we have all this, even like trying to weigh who is more powerful or who is communicating to Kenyans better than the other, extrajudicial killing and non-extrajudicial killing, the Mount Kenya and the Rift Valley and all these kingpins, it's all about competitive politics. The day we take the keys, hold the keys and lock the door of competitive politics in the Republic of Kenya and open the chapter of water, education, agriculture, energy, that is the day this country will heal. The day we take all these politicians from the topmost seat to the second post to the ward, that is where we have the MCAs. Everybody who is elected, the day we send these people home and say no to general elections, this country will start a paradigm shift of healing. And we will open a chapter of ideological thinking, ideological conversations. I wish these two leaders were talking about water, energy. How many children are out of school after flooding? I wish these people were talking about how many of our youths are jobless. But now it's about who has what power. And unfortunately, they even talked about state agencies of government like the National Intelligence Service.
Very sensitive.
You
offices.
don't talk matters, national intelligence, on national television. That's usually a high government secret. The moment even a family opens your secret to every villager and everybody out there, it is no longer a family. So now what they have opened, they have washed the dirty linen into public. Why? Competitive politics. Let me tell you, because Kenya belongs to nobody. Kenyans belongs to all of us. This must come to an end. Your Excellency, your deputy, your members of parliament, hii mambo lazima ikome. Kenya must move on. And must move on without any worshipping any individual. We now want to sing our development song and not singing any other individual again.
To bring you Charles Okwemba,
Yes.
there were two different sets of press conferences.
Yes.
As a journalist and as a media practitioner and PR,
Yes.
what is your reaction?
My reaction is equally shocked to see that they're reading from different scripts. I would have expected them to be reading from the same script, to be at the same location, or even if they're at different locations, this one would have talked about something including Ruto would have talked, the President Ruto would have talked about the incident that has happened. Gachagua would have addressed this other issue of the finance bill. I would have expected that. So that once this one addresses this, he addresses this other thing on this other end. It will have shown the wisdom in the government itself. But at the moment right now, we are seeing that there is no wisdom in the government. We are, at this point, even the Gen Zs are looking and they're like, now you're confirming what we are actually saying. Because you people, you do not have the wisdom to lead us. You are coming and talking about trying to divide the country instead of bringing the country together. The moment, I'd like to concur with Ambassador Esther. When you talk about, when you come out and lay out the intelligence and start blaming the intelligence body, what are you telling Kenyans? You're exposing Kenyans out there. You're saying like our intelligence is not okay. That means now looking at General Muhoozi from Uganda, who was saying I can attack Kenya at any time.
From Westlands.
From Westlands. You're now confirming to him like now the intelligence agencies is not working.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is now Kenyans are coming to see like the leaders we elected, we actually elected leaders who are unwise, leaders who do not take time to come together and unite us. They're just dividing us. For me, I would like to see a Kenya that we have leaders, we put leaders who are accountable, who come out, read from the same script, come together and talk about issues that are affecting us instead of diverting us to issues about them being in a divide. Because what we are seeing is Gachagua and President Ruto being in a divide. And they're actually confirming, you cannot lead us. And for me, I'm like, come to the table, sort your issues out. Don't even come together in the public limelight. Sort your issues out privately. Then come out and start showing that you are willing to unite us. But at the moment, we have no trust in this government because they are unwise and they're not showing their wisdom.
Beatrice, I must say that we don't have role models. I think what Gen Zs would be looking out for are role models in government. Like if they have to stop, they're going to the streets. Do we have a role model to emulate? Because when the president comes out and says this, and then the deputy president is saying this, is that fueling the demonstrations or is it cooling down? the temperatures. The Gen Zs are like, we don't have leaders. So we continue with our demonstrations. So let us be careful as we come out to the public as leaders, whether our statements are going either to escalate the situation more or they are going to give lasting solutions. And also to the people of Kenya, who did we elect? Because we said, tutaamka mapema, who did we elect? Are we losing it out every other time we talk about going to the ballot? We wake up at 3. Our mothers stop going to the market early in the morning. Our fathers stop going to milk their cows early in the morning. They go and queue to elect these people. But who do we elect? Not only in this administration, even in other administrations. Is elections failing us? Is the power of voting failing? And for the longest time, we have talked about IBC failing us. Now we don't have a commission. And people are saying, now we need to dissolve the government. That's good. But what is the way forward? We don't have even an electoral commission. And every time we also go to election, we blame the electoral commission. From the Kivitu Commission to the Hassan Commission to the Chebukati Commission, who tells us that the next commission will be made of ages? Can we do away with elections for the first time, tafadhali? Nahi, let me tell you, if the people of Kenya will not be able to do it, hapa ni pale unaomba and then you tell God, can you Father come down from heaven above and now do miracles in Kenya to ensure that we don't go to elections anymore, but we vet and appoint leaders? Because even if we go to elections tomorrow, who are we electing? Are they?
Or we can adopt the South African system.
What is the South African system?
The parliamentary system.
We don't want any elections at all. No, I disagree with that. What we don't want is no elections at all. Zero elections.
Yes.
Look at the judiciary. The judiciary, no elections at all. Every judicial officers, from the Chief Justice to the magistrates and every judicial officer, we don't campaign. You have never seen Mother Koome on top of her machinery up there. Hey, campaign for me, how many votes? You know, she was just appearing on a vetting and appointing committee, and she was positioned into leadership together with the magistrates and the entire judiciary protocol. Let us have the next head of state vetted and appointed, and we are ready to push the agenda forward until it happens. Go ahead, my dear. Yes.
I see the point you're trying to make.
Yes.
But sadly, time is not on our side.
Oops, okay.
Yes. Because I know there's a lot to talk about, and I feel there's so many things that we haven't been able to address. We'll have another sitting and have a conversation on the same. Please, in a minute. In a minute, as we give you a batting shot, you can tell some of the implications that divide can have in a minute.
Very good. It is very unfortunate, and I must say that when parents are not together, the children suffer. Your Excellency, the head of state and the deputy president, when you are not together, the nation is suffering. And again, when parents don't listen to their children, the whole family suffers. When the head of state, the deputy, the entire parliament, and the elected protocol, and everybody does not listen to our Gen Zs, the country will continue to suffer. The Gen Zs are bringing a paradigm shift. What is the paradigm shift? I don't want to say that that's what was in their mind, but let us think of something new, the new normal. Let us ask ourselves, did we wake up to elect thugs and people who are not ready to listen to us, people who have been stealing in the government, people who are not ready to listen, but people who are ready to uplift their lives and forget about the people who voted in. Therefore, my parting shot, Kenya bila uchaguzi. Shukran sana.
Charles?
As my parting shot, I'd just like to urge the young people to continue with the fight and to continue voicing out their concerns. Then on the divide between the president and the deputy president, the implications are when a house is divided, eventually it will crumble. So we don't need the divisive politics and all these things to be out in public. If you want, they just go privately and they sort their issues out, then come out and speak in one voice. So for me, I'd urge the president and the deputy president to sort their issues out and not to come out and put their issues out and destroy the country. Let them unite the country. And that is my parting shot.
Thank you very much for joining the broadcast. Very interesting conversation, very interesting views, public service governance. I think that's a conversation you need to have with George. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to having more and more. Of course, there's a lot to talk about on matters, what is happening, but sadly time is not on our side. Many thanks for joining the broadcast. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Good night.